Hello. Today I'm going to be reading the Wall Street Journal from Thursday, August 20th, 2015. Now let me give you a little bit of a background on why I started reading the Wall Street Journal. In reality, I just wanted to start making videos about newspaper reading and newspaper sounds, which I love. And my inspiration comes from Gentle Whispering when she's reading an article from the New York Times. I remember watching that video and it was oh so soothing. Of course, she's the queen of ASMR. So with that said, I'll get started. I'll find a story that is not too negative. Here we go. Usually the very first section does have or contain a lot of not too positive news. So I know that now, but I still want to flip through. I want to flip through the pages because I love the crunchy sound of it. Russia, Le Pen. Iran. What? Subway. Ex-Subway pitchman pleads guilty. Jared. Oh no, that's not good news at all. Okay, anyway. Wow, I'm so behind with news. They're news to me, but of course they're not news to probably a lot of you guys. Oh, look at this beautiful flags. Canada, Brazil, Malaysia, New Zealand, and South Africa. And aren't these flags so beautiful? And out of all of these, let's see, which one do I like the best? All of them. If we could all see how different the flags are and how pretty they are too. I think each of us human, we are our own flag and we are so different, yet so beautiful too. We're all human, and there's so much hate, human versus human. I've never seen a lion eat another lion. I've never seen a hyena eat another hyena. Of course, I don't go exploring or anything like that, but I haven't heard a case of that. Therefore, I don't think it's had happened. It has happened. All right. Beijing. Oil. Southeast Asia. Here we go. The personal journal. Millennial fashion grows up. Let's see. I'm trying to not block the lighting. It's kind of hard. Oh, look at that. Right there. You see that? Right here. It's a purse. Cool. Let's see. Alright, so we have an artist, circle, and words and image. Then we have the whole Forever 21 thing, which is a store that I personally don't like. And then new ways to appreciate Southern music. Let's see. The power of doing nothing. The imagery struggles of Robert Griffin III. Don't know who Robert Griffin is. He looks like a football player. Okay. The 22-inch carry-on won't always fly. That sounds interesting. I'll read that one. Today's riddle. When is 22 inches not 22 inches? Oh, I'm sorry, this is by Scott McCartney. On a plane I've traveled for many years with a Travel Pro 22-inch rollboard bag. When one finally wore out, I replaced it with the same 22-inch rollerboard bag. Travel Pro markets it as compliant with airline size limits, most of which restrict bags to 22 inches in length. The bag slides easily into most of any overhead bin. But when British Airways had sizing box at a gate for a recent flight and made all passengers put their bag in the box, mine didn't fit and had to be checked. The same fate befell many bags on that flight. A few weeks later, on an American airline flight leaving Phoenix, the same thing. Gate agents were telling passengers to put their carry-ons in the bag sizer as they headed for the plane. Many typical, well-traveled bags didn't fit. Travel Pro and other luggage makers say the luggage industry practice in the US is to size bags by the dimensions of the packaging area without counting wheels and handles. At luggage store, a Briggs & Riley's 22-inch rollerboard stands 23 inches tall. When you put a tape measure next to it, at a luggage store, a Briggs & Riley 22-inch rollerboard stands 23 inches tall when you put a tape measure next to it. So does a Victorinox 22-inch bag. During recent visits to Macy's and Bags and Baggage, salesmen claimed the bags fit airline sizers and complied with airline specifications. But airlines count wheels and handles and have grown more strict about enforcing their rules. Kelly Layden, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, dropped her bag in Delta's carry-on sizing box before boarding a flight recently at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. The bag didn't fit in the box. And you can see it right there, Delta carry-on size check. And I think that's her, maybe. And that's the bag, and it doesn't fit. Then you have the United Airlines, and it says right there, one carry-on up to 9 inches by 14 inches by 22 inches. Of course, if you're not in the United States, the measurements are in centimeters or meters. Let's see, let's continue with day 2. I've had this bag 50 years and I'm not going to change now, she says. Not only are they charging for bags, but they are also making the limits smaller. It's ridiculous. Part of the problem is shifting airline standards, a luggage industry reluctance to shrink bags because consumers shop for generous packing capacity. Travel Pro says it uses the United Airlines bag sizer for its claim that its 22-inch rollerboards fit within airline size limits, and points to American and Delta policies calling for carry-ons the same size. We physically test our carry-on bags in a sizer before releasing the design for production, says Scott Appleby, Travel Pro Vice President of Marketing. But the tape measure shows United sizer is actually larger than those of Delta, American, and other airlines with 22-inch limits. Last year, when it began strictly enforcing carry-on size limits, United decided to build in an inch of forgiveness. The sizer is labeled with limits of 22 inches tall, 14 inches wide, and 9 inches deep. But the box is actually built with an extra inch in all 3 dimensions. United spokesman Roseanne Johnson says. American, Delta, and British Airways and others have sizers at exactly 22 inches, not 23. Travel pros. Mr. Appleby says he didn't know. I will pass this on to our design team to have them check the measurements on our sizer and evaluate options, he says. From our research, we chose United because they were the most rigorous in their enforcement of the sizing guidelines. Mr. Appleby notes that the bag sizing is a moving target and enforcement varies by airline and flight. Travel Pro, he says, has received few complaints about bag sizes and doesn't want its customers to have to check their carry-on bags and pay their airline fees, but we are also obligated to give them packing space. Tumi, a high-end line, shortened its bags to 22 inches, including wheels and appendages, over the last few years because of airline limits, a spokeswoman says. Sammonite, which includes American Tourister, Hartmann, High Sierra, and other brands, says it too. Sizes to meet airline specifications now. Eagle Creek also includes wheels and handles in its sizing. Some bags have come out of manufacturing slightly larger than specs and drawn complaints because they didn't fit airline size limits. When the company hears of such problems, they are fixed, an Eagle Creek spokeswoman says. Bag sizing became a bigger issue when major airlines began charging to check bags in 2008, prompting passengers to carry on more stuff to avoid fees. As airlines have installed more seats into jets over the past few years, more passengers now compete for the same overhead bin space. Bigger bags and more of them means many passengers at the end of the boarding line often can't find overhead bin space and end up having bags checked at the gate. Since that's time-consuming and can lead to departure delays, airlines have stepped up enforcement of bag sizes to cull large bags from taking overhead bin space. On full flights, gates agents often have bag sizers and bag tag printers nearby so they can quickly check if bags comply with size limits. The International Air Transport Association, which represents airlines, proposed a worldwide standard for carry-on bags called Cabin OK earlier this year. The group said its standard will bring common sense and order to the problem of differing sizes for carry-on bags. But the initiative drew quick fire from travelers and some airlines because the dimensions of a Cabin OK bag were considered smaller than the maximum allowed on many airlines. Of course, new standards mean a chance to sell new luggage. Travel Pro and other manufacturers say they had bags in development to meet the Cabin OK standard before IATA, or IATA, put the move on hold. Airlines continue to tinker with allowable bag sizes, which have shrunk over the years. Effective Tuesday, British Airways slashed the size allowed for personal items. A second carry-on bag, such as a purse, backpack, or computer bag. Most airlines allow passengers to bring one carry-on and one personal item on board. British Airways had allowed a personal item up to 18 by 14 by 8 inches. The new standard drops the 43% in cubic space to 60 by 12 by 6 inches, a good size purse or tote bag. Checked baggage, too, has seen size limits reduced. Most airlines now limit the weight of each checked bag to 50 pounds, but a few, including discounters, Spirit, and Allegiant, Allegiant cab, weighed at 40 pounds per bag. Bags heavier than that get hit with overweight baggage fees. I have two huge bags, once used for family trips, that are now obsolete. My family proudly dubbed them rolling coffins. Time to give them away. And what of my carry-on bag? I decided the uncertainty of having to occasionally check the bag at the gate wasn't worth the risk. Having the bag taken away from you suddenly can spell trouble if you have valuables or medications inside, or if it doesn't get delivered right away. And my wife points out that waiting at the baggage carousel makes me grumpy. So I bought a 22-inch Eagle Creek rollerboard that measures 22 inches and fits most airline sizes. It has less packing space, but is legal. So then we have over here carry-on weight-wear bags. Airlines have varying limits of carry-on size, tripping up even frequent flyers with well-traveled luggage. Here's a look at the different airlines' allowances. So we have the orange rectangle. It says airline baggage restrictions are total size of the bag including handle and wheels. And the orange is 24 by 16 by 10, which Frontier, Southwest, and Virgin America allow that. Then let's do the blue rectangle here. That's 22 inches by 18 by 10. That's allowed by British Airways and Spirit. Then we have the pink rectangle right here, which is 22 by 14 by 9, which is what this whole article has been talking about. And that's allowed by American, Delta, Hawaiian, JetBlue, and United. So on here we're talking that your handle should be here, and of course your wheels. And lastly we have the green rectangle, which should measure, your baggage should measure 21 inches by 13 by 9, which is a standard carry-on size for Air France. Now on this side, here we have bag makers still size their luggage by interior dimensions. So on here it's 10 inches from here to here, which is the most this front pocket will extend. And that's measured, that blue one is by British Airways and Spirit. And then we have the orange 10 inches. Orange 10 inches again from the back all the way to where it expands the front pocket. And that's allowed by Frontier, Southwest, and Virgin America. But now, from the back to the front of the bag, the pocket, 9 inches. so it reduces by 1 inch, and that's allowed by American, Delta, Hawaiian, and JetBlue, and United Airlines. And Air France allows 9 inches, again from the back to just where the pocket ends, right here. So if it expands more, then your bag won't fit, and then it would have to be checked. Traveling, so much fun, huh? I'm going to show you. You've already seen my bag. If you go to my video about me packing for my trip, that's the bag that I started using when I fly. Let me show it to you. Okay, so this is my bag, and all the way up to the top, right here, it's 22 inches, but then I fold it like this. So let's see what that is in centimeters. Let's see, 30 centimeters. It's like 55 centimeters long, but without the handle, it is 40 centimeters long. Let's do it again. It's about almost 36 centimeters. Twelve, 14 inches wide, and it's about 9 inches without anything inside, without this being all puffy. Once it becomes puffy, it's probably the 10 centimeters all the way over here. So again, it's 22 centimeters. And if this thing pops up a little bit, it's about 24 centimeters. Once I put like stuff in here, it makes it puffy. So this is my bag, and it is by American Tourister. I hope you enjoyed my video. Thank you so much for leaving comments and feedback. It really helps me so much. Thank you for watching.